Welcome to the fourth official BRIDGECAST.
With your hosts,
This guy, Thomas.
and Brandon Moy, not Mooey Moy.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know what this is a podcast that we do once a week. This guy and I talk about politics, news, current events, whatever really hits us that week. We belong to an organization called Bridge, which is a student organization that kind of allows you to do whatever you want to do.
You basically have free reins on a lot of certain personal projects that you want to roll out and just experiment around with. So this is our short little contribution to Bridge.
Well, okay, I don't know. Contribution. I mean,
Well, that's what it is. What it is.
actually, no, you're right. We do contribute to Bridge.
Yeah, of course.
We put content stuff together. Usual, Bridge is always looking for writers and editors and other people to contribute and write content and do stories. So if you are interested, you can contact Bridge. We have meetings every Thursday from 6 to 7, or just find people floating around
They're usually available. It's not a big deal.
like the rest of everybody else. Just float around.
So let's go talk about the issues at hand, everybody.
Well, we didn't actually fully decide on the topics that we're going to talk for today. We have the big topic for the day, which is Walmart's new wage hike and the effects that's going to have on everything, right?
Yeah, but before we get started, please excuse us for our very sleepy look today. We haven't slept for God knows how many hours, and this might be a little more chill than usual.
This is definitely going to be a lot more relaxed than usual. Don't expect complex arguments coming out of either of us today.
Well, maybe the audience might pick it up. We have 2 people in the audience today, but they're probably equally as tired as we are, if not more. It looks like Sean's pretty tired.
Yeah, and this is kind of to talk about that. That's the whole point of why we do this, as well as to try and get people to come in and listen to the things that we talk about, because people, after having done a few of these, have come up and said, I think it'd be a really cool idea if you talked about this. So the whole point is to do this podcast and get other people involved in the conversation on things that are not architecture, which is what 99% of what we talk about is.
Yeah, so speaking of non-architecture, let's get into finance, economy, that kind of stuff. Walmart, what does that really mean? So I'd like to basically introduce this topic here. So essentially, Walmart this year is raising their minimum wage in about 21 states in the U.S. Am I right? And they're raising it to $9 per hour.
From $7.25 an hour?
Well, that depends on which state you're in, actually.
Okay, sorry.
They have different different minimum rates.
The federal minimum is $7.25 an hour, but across the board, Walmart is looking to raise everything to about $9 an hour in the States.
Yeah, but certain states have a higher minimum wage than the federal minimum wage.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like they're trying to raise the minimum bar now. The minimum bar was $7.25 set by the federal government, and now they're looking to raise the minimum, or Walmart is looking to raise their minimum from $7.25 to $9 an hour.
This is in the U.S., by the way, not Canada. But regardless, what that really means is that Walmart is essentially raising the wage of the biggest single private institution, private employer, I would say, actually, in the United States. And that's kind of a big deal. Mm-hmm. And the reason for this is, well, actually, there are a couple of reasons, but there's some good ones here. People are arguing about why they're actually doing this. Some right-wingers are basically saying that it's not necessarily the U.S. government does not actually need to say, okay, let's raise the minimum wage to get these companies, these big corporate companies that pay people literally pennies to raise their minimum wage. Basically, some people are saying that, well, actually, Walmart is realizing that with the recovery of the U.S. economy, as slow and steady as that may be, some people are actually moving away from working at places like Walmart. And so they're actually just trying to be competitive, really. That little raise in pay might be more competitive to the people that would like to pursue a position at Walmart.
I think that's true. I also think too that Walmart has taken a lot of bad press due to the fact that its minimum wage has been so low. A few things I was pulling out of Bloomberg and Wall Street Journal in reading about this was that a lot of Walmart employees were in fact going on food stamps because their minimum wage was not enough to cover their cost of living, and in fact that many Walmart employees were below the poverty line.
Yeah, but that's also interesting because the union with all the people that work at Walmart is claiming that they should actually be getting paid around $15-16 an hour instead of what they're getting at $9, because even if they raise it, they're not raising it that much.
No, I mean, it's more of a gesture that Walmart's doing right now. It's more like we're a great company. Even the statement that the CEO had released, where they said, I'm quoting this terribly, but he had said something along the lines of like, we as a company can recognize when we've made a mistake, and we always do our best to try and rectify that mistake. It was something along the lines.
Yes, I remember this one.
It was very like politically put together in such a way to say like, we do pay for our employees, but this is really just more of a political move than it is actually a move to better our employees. Yeah,
speaking of political sort of statements, they have a spokeswoman at Walmart. Her name is Brooke Buchanan, and she said, quote, that they're making these changes to ensure that the stores comply with the new U.S. law of raising the minimum wage. So there, maybe you have that side of the coin. I don't know, but here we have a spokeswoman saying that they're just doing this because it's the law.
Well, yeah, that's the other half of it. I mean, like they're doing it because they have to, but they're trying to come out and say like, oh, we wanted to do this because we recognize that our employees are below the poverty line. And another stat that I pulled was that Walmart is the largest private sector beneficiary of welfare.
Yeah, pretty much.
They an average of $2.66 billion goes to Walmart employees for welfare, and that's crazy.
Of course it's crazy.
You're holding down a job, a 9-to-5 job pretty well, but you aren't making enough money to support yourself. That's insane.
And it's kind of funny because it's also the largest employer in the United States, so you have the government supporting the people through these support aids like food stamps, and then the people are there working at the largest employer in the country. That's kind of an interesting situation, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. And the other thing I found, I pulled out of the Bloomberg article too, is that the managers of Walmart, like in most offices and businesses, you're going to have a manager, and the manager oftentimes is in charge of like, say, store layout. Like if you have a local store here, the manager is in charge of overseeing that, like, the layout of the store changes to kind of draw people in, so it's not the same every time. But because Walmart's such a large corporation, they don't have those powers. As a manager in a Walmart, you don't get to say like, eggs here today and toilet paper there tomorrow. Like that, you don't have, that's done by higher ups, and it's standardized across the board. So the responsibilities of the managers are taken away to where they're usually just in charge of payroll and I forget the other thing. Evaluations. They evaluate their employees. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because the managers are often pressured to meet certain performance standards, as any manager would be expected to, but the performance standards are oftentimes not easily achievable. They're almost ludicrous, so to say. And so they oftentimes, to meet their standards, their managers force or ask, quote unquote, their employees to stay late and not get paid, or come in on days that they have off to work for free, so they can meet their standards. And otherwise, if they say, well, no, I'm not going to come in on that day, they're like, oh, well, you're fired.
Yeah, but now with these claims here, for example, on investors.com, they're saying that Walmart is raising the wage here to get back some people that they may be losing with a stronger economy. Do you think that attitude will actually change? Because maybe they won't be down to fire people as quickly. And in fact, some people are saying that Walmart is actually raising their minimum wage because they're trying to build loyalty within the company itself.
Sure.
They're trying to get quality people working there, because now they don't necessarily have such a wide selection as they may have had in a couple previous years. That, you know, the one person that works there, like, you want to make sure he's doing his job well instead of just like firing here and there. And now they have to raise his wage too. So,
well, I think that's starting to get to a point that I had come across too, and I think that you'll find this to be true in any job you work. Happy workers oftentimes want to stay at the company where they are.
of course,
Like if you're getting, you know, treated awful at your job and you're not getting paid very much, you're going to be more inclined to, like, at the first opportunity, jump ship and jump into something else. Like from the same Bloomberg article, I'd found that Costco pays its employees minimum about $20 an hour. So if you, as somebody who's coming from Walmart,
whoa, my mother works at Costco and she's not getting paid $20 an hour.
okay, this is the stat that I pulled from the
maybe in the
article.
United States, I don't know.
Maybe in the States, but the point that they were making is that, like, you know, there's employees at Costco that are getting paid like $15 to $20 an hour, say. Like let's assume that it's not as high as 20, but 15 to 20 an hour is still way better than 9 at Walmart.
That's
so
true.
you as an employee at Walmart, your loyalty is not going to be with Walmart to stay there because you're like, well, Walmart's an awful corporation. Like, I come in on days that I have off apparently, and I don't get paid for that when I should be doing other things, and I don't even make enough money that I can support myself. I'm going to go to Costco the moment that they have an opening because, man, like, I would rather make $18 an hour. And, like, then Costco kind of, like, has now these happy employees that are loyal to the company.
Theoretically.
This is, I mean, like, it would make sense.
Let me tell you what my mom thinks about Costco. She doesn't think it's a great place.
Well, all big box stores kind of have that same vibe.
They're just not nice places. And in fact, if you're mentioning that Walmart wants to actually, well, let's say hypothetically Walmart wants to create a better environment for its workers, and this is one avenue that they're doing it in. It seems like their direct competitors, for example, TJX, the owners of TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Home Goods, they're also raising their minimum wage. McDonald's, for example, is also going to have to raise their minimum wage because of these states, and first of all, the 21 states that have higher minimum wage standards, and then, of course, the U.S. government making the wage go higher. So now you have all these places that are employing people for minimum wage. They're all going to have to raise their minimum wage. So how does that make them any better? That's just the new status quo.
Sure, that is the new status quo, but, like, they're doing that because they have to. That doesn't necessarily mean the treatment of the employees is going to change. Sure,
well, we don't know if Walmart's doing that to, like, here we have direct quotes saying that they're just doing it to comply with law.
Exactly. So take that as an example that, like, Walmart's doing it because they have to. Costco's doing it because they know that if they have good employees, those employees are going to want to make customers feel more welcome there. Because I don't know if this has been your experience, but there's a Walmart that's by my house that, like, they are so sarcastic with you and they don't treat you nicely at all.
Which location?
This is at basically Major Mackenzie and the 400. It's on the west side of that.
Okay, never mind.
You know where my house is?
Yeah.
You know when you come up, like, west into Major Mac. I know, sorry, this is like a big detour. But when you come up west to Major Mac there, you come to the intersection. There's, like, those plazas and stuff. The Walmart's kind of just tucked.
Okay, I haven't been to that one, but okay, keep
anyway,
going.
Point being is they treat you like garbage there. And, like, I've been accused of, like, breaking things there when I haven't done anything wrong. Like, I was paying for something.
Oh boy.
And I put my card in the machine and said error. And then like I said, okay, just try again. So I did it like 2 or 3 times. She's like, did you break the machine? I'm like, excuse me? I just got here. No, I didn't break your machine. And, like, like, they have this feeling of, like, entitlement there. So, like, as a shopper, I'm like, well, I really, like, both my dad and I are like, let's not go to that Walmart. Let's go find it.
Yeah, but you're a huge Costco fan. I know that for sure. So I know your statements here are already slightly biased.
Not really. I mean, like, Walmart's, like...
This guy today, he wanted to go up to Kitchener after a studio crit.
To do what?
To buy Costco supplies. Was that not the plan?
No.
Today or tomorrow?
No, not really.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, the point is this guy's a huge Costco fan, so I don't know if we can really take his statements as being exactly truthful.
Remove my feelings about either store, because I still go to Walmart for certain things because it's okay for certain things. I'm talking, the argument I'm trying to make is that unhappy employees like hate their job, and while they're hating their job, they're going to have a bad attitude when they're serving customers most times.
That's true.
Which the end result of that is you as a customer are going to be like, oh, I was mistreated at, like, it doesn't matter what store, Walmart, Target, like the local coffee shop here. If somebody, like, treats you not like as a proper customer, and they feel entitled that like, you know, that they have some sort of dominion over you, next time you're going to think twice about going there, because you're like, I don't know that I really liked how I was treated there. You know what? Like, I can get the same product elsewhere and it'll be like another 50 cents more, but at least I'm treated better. So, you know.
Yeah, but that's highly subjective. We don't know if that's necessarily the corporation's actual doing anyway. That has a lot of personal in it as well.
Sure, there's a lot of personalism in it too, but here's a scenario. You are a Walmart employee. You're making $7 an hour.
Okay.
You're barely able to. You're barely able to pay your bills. You're not really able to feed yourself. Are you really going to be a happy employee? Probably
No.
not.
Yeah,
but
you're right, of course.
But then a friend of yours, but then take the same person's now working at, like, as an example, Costco or another sort of big box store that cares about its employees. They're now making $20 an hour, and you know what? They're living all right. They're happy. The company treats them nicely. They have benefits and like all these other little perks that an employee who's working there is like, you know what? I actually don't mind my job. I like it. I enjoy what I do, and they're going to be a little bit happier. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. You can get in on this one.
Yeah, just there's a switch on the side of it. Just turn the switch on if you want to hop in.
Great.
But so like as you're going to be a happy employee, and then you're going to have a better attitude about how you treat people. So when you go to buy something, you're not going to be very condescending towards the person you're because you enjoy your job. You're not like, here's your eggs, get out. Like, it's not going to be this. They're going to be more.
Let's
more
let
friendly
somebody
to you.
else
Sorry.
speak on this one.
I'm rambling.
So you guys were talking about how.
Shut. You got. It's a directional mic,
Okay.
so you got to talk like into it like this.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
gotcha. So you guys are saying that it's not just Walmart that's raising their minimum wage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if everyone's raising their minimum wage by $2, then I think you can doubt, whatever the CEO is saying.
Mm-hmm.
But the interesting thing, if you think about it, is why are they trying to keep prices as low as possible? Isn't it because to keep prices low, to stay competitive, so that
Yes.
Sure.
people like Brandon and will still shop at Costco because stuff is cheap there?
It's true that is their intent, but if you watch the Walmart documentaries, they all say that they can easily afford to pay people at least something like $16 an hour. They just don't.
Yeah, exactly.
If you go search anything on Google about how Walmart treats its people, it's pretty bad, and people claim, at least on the inside, that they're just really greedy.
Yeah, but that's why they're so successful, right? That's why each of the Walmart siblings, each of them have like a cap, I think, net worth of $24 billion.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and they're making like $8,000 an hour, just like that.
Yeah.
But I think also Walmart is kind of peaking, if you really think about it. They've already, in terms of the North American market, they have a Walmart almost everywhere.
Yep.
Same with other sort of big companies out here, like Tim Hortons as well. They're all looking for other markets because they have a Walmart pretty much in every town.
Mm-hmm.
And now with like the prices that they have, and sort of they don't do anything else beyond that. They just kind of like, they establish a new base, and that's how they make more money.
Mm-hmm.
But they are expanding to other countries.
They are
Sure.
expanding
Yeah,
to
they're
other
expanding to
countries,
other
but
countries.
that's I think what's going to happen in the future as well, with a lot of these big North American firms that have branches all over the place. Like, for example, even when I was in Holland, I was contemplating a very funny thought, because at the time, Tim Hortons, which is our Canadian, basically, or Canadian cafe, coffee shop,
Now owned by the States.
yeah. They're with Burger King right now, right? So I walk by a lot of Burger Kings in Europe, and I'm like, wow, wouldn't this be amazing if this was also a Tim Hortons now, and they just double up?
The opening of the first Burger King in Finland was like a huge deal. Like,
Yeah.
it was at the Helsinki main subway station. And,
Yeah.
and I was like, it was like it's like a cathedral space, and it's
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
amazing space, and just Burger King, and the entire place just smells like burgers.
That's funny,
Whoppers.
because I was there, but I never went inside. I only saw it from the outside.
They love it.
Yeah. They also have, in Finland, for some reason, they like those like nacho burgers. They're really funny. They put like a piece of chip inside. I don't know.
I do the same. Make a sandwich, put my Doritos in my sandwich.
Anyway, we're getting off topic. The point is that I think Walmart can afford to pay people more.
Absolutely.
When you're making $8,000 an hour,
But why should they?
yeah, they shouldn't. That's the thing. That if maybe you're on the inside and you're the one benefiting from all this, then yeah, I guess greed plays out a way stronger role than supporting like all these people here. And you also can leverage the fact that, sure, the U.S. maybe supports them by giving them food stamps and like other aid. But Walmart is still the largest employer in the whole country.
Sure.
It's ridiculous. Walmart makes more money than Sweden in terms of GDP.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
Yep.
So when you're that big, like you have a lot of push against what the government can tell you to do.
Sure.
And so if you're obviously the owner, like if you're in the Walton family, then sure, you might just get greedy and you don't want to. You just don't feel the need. You're just like, okay, I'm doing enough of my part. We donate to charity. Sure. Yeah, that's every year they have this like charity drive. It's pretty funny because they have certain caps, but they won't donate a penny more. It's like they always reach it and they're done. Like that just kind of reveals to you like the sort of mindset of like the greed at Walmart. But anyway, that's it's for another topic. I think I don't think it's necessarily appropriate to their minimum wage. I'm not sure.
Well, I don't know. I think that speaks to the mentality of the company.
Yeah, exactly.
And the trickle down effect it has on its employees.
It probably extends beyond just Walmart, right?
Yeah.
It's the whole idea behind
of course.
society.
But like, do you think that working at, for example, like TJ Maxx is any better? Like, I really don't know. It's smaller. Yeah, that's true. And they don't deal with food. But TJ Maxx is like the U.S. equivalent of like Winners or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Winners for the States.
Yeah, and these people are competing with Walmart because Walmart like sells cheap clothes, and so does TJ Maxx.
Yeah.
And so, if you have like a whole bunch of pop-up stores like that competing with Walmart, and they all have to meet the same minimum wage requirements, then you just have like a head-on sort of collision right there. And some people at TJ Maxx like. Well, actually, everyone in TJ Maxx doesn't deal with food. It's not a food store. Yeah. But I think, like, in my mind, at least, like, I think it's a little, in terms of the social ladder, I guess you could say, like, I would think it'd be nicer to work at TJ Maxx compared to Walmart.
Oh, absolutely. I would think so, too.
Even though you're getting the same pay, you know?
Sure.
And also, what Walmart is doing as well is because they have to raise the minimum wage now, they're trying to rethink their economic strategy as to how they're paying people in general now.
Well, yeah, that was the other thing too. I remember reading was that a lot of Walmart, like Walmart doesn't necessarily hire people for full time, because when you hire somebody for full time, there's benefits and other things that you have to give somebody with a full time position. So instead of hiring somebody as a full time worker for 40 hours a week, they hire them for like, I don't know, 37 and a half hours a week. They're like, oh, technically you're not full time, you're still part time. So therefore we don't need to pay for like dental benefits, health benefits. You're on your own for that. Which, I mean, like, that's another thing on top of being, like, predominantly in the States, because here in Canada we have OHIP, and that, or at least in Ontario we have OHIP. And that pretty well covers a lot of your medical expenses. But, like, if you're in the States and now you don't have benefits from your workplace, now you're getting paid, you know, $8 an hour. You have to somehow pay for health insurance of some sort or not. There's a lot of people in the States that don't because they simply can't afford it. And now you got to, like, so you've got health insurance to pay for, you're barely making enough to scrape by, and then in a lot of cases they can't feed themselves. Like, I remember going back to the whole point of like Walmart receiving a lot of bad PR because it doesn't pay its employees well. Walmart held a food drive. And the majority of the people that came to the food drive were Walmart employees looking to collect food from this food drive. Walmart was handing its employees food because they couldn't pay for it by themselves. They were on food stamps and other things like that. So I think like when you look at that, you're like, well, why would I want to work at Walmart? Like they have a turnover rate of 44% people. So here comes to another point that I had read as well too, and is that often, like, when it costs more for an employee to leave than it does to keep them there for the price that they're working, because like by the time they go through the process work of hiring somebody else, it costs them 1 year's salary for a minimum wage worker. So if Walmart was more focused on keeping its employees happy, it wouldn't be losing money every time somebody like leaves or is fired, and they have to go through the rehiring process.
Yeah, well, maybe that's why they want to build loyalty now, so that they don't have to do either.
Exactly, that's what they want to do. Like as a company, you're looking at like just straight numbers. You're like, I'm losing people. It's costing me more money to go find new people than it is to satisfy the ones that are already here. And they have less of those
new people apparently to find.
Exactly.
So of course it's in their best interest to kind of keep some of them around.
Absolutely.
Which means I don't know about what it's like to work at Walmart for a living, but they claim that they have a lot of room to actually climb the social ladder in Walmart itself. But if you're saying that a manager can't even have these responsibilities after a while, then I really don't know.
Like as a manager, you're not going to be like, you've got very, very minimal duties in terms of what you're allowed to do. Like the manager is more of just like a placeholder.
Exactly. So like, where do you move on up? Like, I don't really know if you can move on past anything like that.
I personally, I don't think that, like, if you start at the bottom, so to say, in Walmart, that you're really going to be like manager and then regional manager. And then like, if you're stuck inside the store, I'm pretty sure you're going to be stuck inside the store. Like, I don't think that all of a sudden, like, you're going to, you know what, Jeff, you're doing a great job today stacking those watermelons. You know what? I think it's time to promote you to manager. And then like, Jeff, you're doing a really good job managing everybody's evaluations, because that's the only thing we're going to give you to do. Because you're doing such a fantastic job at that, we're going to make you regional manager. I don't think that happens inside Walmart. And I
think we need to get someone from inside Walmart to actually talk to us about this. And it would be good to actually, maybe in the future shows, find somebody from these sort of fields.
That would be good, actually.
Get somebody from the bottom or whatever. There's plenty of people.
Yep.
So that would be nice.
So what's next on the list?
What's next on the list? We get $9 per hour, and we go find somebody at Walmart, tell them to sit down here, we'll pay them, and hear what they have to say. Because maybe we'll, like, I don't know, fill in that extra 2.5 hours that they're not getting from their full-time work. So we'll just cap it off there and pay them for the last couple hours.
Yeah. I think it's crazy that most people who work at Walmart are like in poverty, technically speaking.
Of course. But I don't know, like, if you think about it, like, okay, let's brush Walmart aside here for a bit. Like, I don't really want to talk ill about Walmart because I don't know. It's just a very touchy subject.
Sure, it is a very touchy subject.
But it's kind of like medieval, like their mentality. Like, you know, it's like medieval. They have like a whole bunch of like, they don't think about people as like individuals because they have hundreds of thousands. Like, this is a country, man. This place makes more money than some countries.
But it's as much our fault as it is theirs. If
Exactly.
we weren't so cheap, then they wouldn't have to be so cheap.
Exactly. Yeah. But also it's like, it's kind of like peasantry if you think about it. They're just like a mass of peoples. That's why they go in and out. That's why they have this like 40-something% turnover, because it's just like, there's, you know, like, it's just a mass.
They have a steady enough flow of people that they don't necessarily have to be so concerned, like, oh, we lost half our working staff. All right,
yeah, but what does that say about like the society that we live in?
Well, I think that's what Sean was was getting to there.
Sean, maybe you have a comment on this.
No, not really. I was just wondering what's next on the list of topics.
Oh, okay. He's getting bored of the Walmart. To tell you the truth, we actually didn't have anything much planned besides Walmart.
it's been that kind of day.
Like, I was starting to.
I don't know much about like this stuff. I do know that I don't think Walmart has unions in Canada. I'm not sure that's true, because I heard like there's one that was opening in like a new one, I think in the Richmond Hill area.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But then they wanted to have a union, and then Walmart was like, fuck it, no.
Oh, wait. Are you talking about the Sam's Club location?
What is it?
The Highway 7 and
it might
Yonge.
be like they were there for a while. And
yeah, and
like
then they're
a little
gone.
bit, and then now they're gone because they're like, no, we're not going to deal with a union.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. I remember seeing that. But if one of our lecturers, John Straub, he claims that Walmart pays for itself in terms of construction within 5 years.
Yeah.
So if that thing has been around for a bit and then closed down, Walmart's like, okay, whatever. We're in and out.
We made our money back. It was,
yeah,
it was a plus, if anything.
Maybe for a short period of time.
Yeah.
What we are probably going to talk about next week, though, is this is a very geopolitical topic, and it's very charged. And I'm quite frankly, I'm really excited for this one. Mm-hmm. This is going to be about the Nicaragua Canal. Okay, and so everyone's familiar with the Panama Canal. It pretty much creates a shipping route for vessels and ships that can travel between the Atlantic Caribbean side of things and go to the Pacific and vice versa, and cut travel times depending on where you're moving around the world. Well, so that's been largely successful, and that was U.S. sponsored. This happened decades ago. Now there's been new talks about building a canal inside Nicaragua, which is a neighboring, well, not neighboring, but another country in the region, in Central America, which is now sponsored by, I think, Hong Kong Bank is interested in doing this. And so some people are thinking that this is a Chinese geopolitical tactic that they're trying to put in to compete directly with the Panama Canal in the same region for shipping, and maybe to extend Beijing's like fingers into other regions of the world that they want to have some sort of control over a market. So this one being obviously transport between two oceans in Latin/South America. But this is very interesting because where they want to cut this canal, first of all, it's a lot longer than the original Panama Canal. It's going to cost a lot of money. I'm not sure about the numbers yet. I'll come back to you with that next week. But there's a lake in between called Lake Nicaragua. It's a freshwater lake. They even have a very interesting species of shark there that lives in this fresh water. So that would basically, environmentally, that's not going to look pretty when you start bringing salt water from the ocean into an ancient freshwater lake that you're just going to ruin everything. Yep. Plus, it's super long. So they also want to make it a lot larger than the Panama Canal to start bringing in very, very large vessels. Ships that, the biggest ship at Maersk, I think it's called. Yep. Their biggest ship would be able to go through this thing, and it's not even that commonly used in that region at all. So they're trying to create like a super, super, super large, wide canal here. And also another thing you have to understand is this region's got a bunch of volcanoes, and it's super, super active with earthquakes and volcanoes. So if they're building this super structure that's a canal that's like moving water, it's got locks in it, there's big ships here and there, it's going through a freshwater lake that they're bringing salt water into, and traveling something like a distance of over 200 miles, then you got a very, very interesting sort of situation. So personally, I'm very deeply attached to this topic. So these are just things that I've been skimming across the interwebs recently. Yep. So next week, I think we should talk about that, talk about the numbers here, and then talk about what that means geopolitically, environmentally, economically, and also if it's even sustainable from an environmental point of view.
I agree. That would be interesting to talk about.
And Sean, I think you should also come, sit down, and engage in this discussion. Let's have like a real 3-parter, if you have time, of course.
We're not really doing too much next week anyway.
Yeah, but anyway, so do you guys want to make some other input into what's happened today? Yeah, okay, that sounds like a good idea. Then I guess we should call it a wraps, and then that gets us going for next week.
Yeah, I kind of think it's a shorter episode, but we're also tired and really didn't prepare very much for today.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you guys for coming, and
we'll see you guys next week.
Next week.